Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the beautiful surroundings of the Praia de Mocha. Here, the pride of Portimão, slap bang in the heart of the Algarve. The inaugural World Beach Ultimate Club Championships continues with women's power pool action. It's the #1 overall seed, Lamp from Philadelphia in the USA, up against MUC from Munich in Germany. Benjamin Rees with you in the booth, delighted to be joined once more by Anna Onosevic. Nos, what a day for Beach Ultimate.
Oh, tell me about it, Benji. I'm really excited to see these two strong women's teams play each other. It's really heating up here in Portimão.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit hot now, the sun rising higher, and for the first time I think all week there's scarcely even a breath of wind, so you couldn't really ask for better ultimate conditions, to be honest. A couple of players to watch then for this game. That's Danielle Walsh from Lamp in the number 24 jersey. She's a player we'll be looked to I think trying to carve the opposition up with her throws. 16 assists so far this week compared to 0 goals. On the other side for MUC, we've got pretty much, I think, the polar opposite of that. Sarah Hermeking, one of 3 Hermekings on the roster, has 0 assists and 18 goals. So it's a real, yeah, I think it's one of those where sometimes you look at a player and it's like, oh, they're so versatile, so you don't know what they're going to do. With those, I think it's, well, you know what they're going to do, but can you stop it?
We'll see.
Yeah, it can be particularly tough to do so. I mean, seeing from the drone shot, it is absolutely perfect. When you were out there playing your first game this morning, how did you find adapting your game to almost the still conditions when we've had it's been a little bit turbulent the past couple of days?
It's true. I guess you could say we didn't adapt very well because we got roasted on a lot of deep shots, a lot of stall 8, stall 9 deep shots, almost every time. So it's a good day to huck it. Especially if you've got great receivers. Hopefully we can see some nice creative shots in this game. Always makes the ultimate more fun to watch. Yeah, Walsh certainly will be one of the key players in that regard. And that's something that we certainly will keep an eye on for this game, is those deep shots are a lot more on than they might have been yesterday or a couple of days ago. And indeed, late install counts as well, because those high stall bailout throws are a lot more viable when they're not having to battle against the elements so much. Yeah, when you can trust the trajectory of the disc and it's not going to get gusted in a ridiculous direction at any moment. Thankfully, because we're up in our little commentary tent, hello, by the way, nice to see you all, we do have a little bit of a breeze which provides a nice kind of slightly cooling effect. Nature's AC, they call it. I'm gonna steal that one, thank you. So Lamp then in the white starting on offense, and MUC in the blue. Got Alicia Dixon on disc. And that one goes to the sand almost, but it is well scooped up. And now the deep shot from Lamp. Well, we said that they'd be on, and it looks like they very much are. Quick point to start the game, very efficient. As an offense, that's exactly what you want. Come out to start the game. You've got the wind at your back, what little wind there is, I guess. So not really a problem to then switch that and be off the field nice and early, and you can get out and start getting your D-line ready to cook. It's probably a good thing that they're efficient, because they came with a roster of 10. So I assume they don't want to be tiring themselves out. And it's the 4th day. Yeah, this is actually the first game as well where they've had all 10 players ready to go. Really? They've struggled a little bit with injury and illness. I was talking to them beforehand, and to be fair to them, I think they're being taking quite a holistic approach to things, saying, look, whoever's out there, we just back them to go out there and do the job. Sure, we'd have liked to maybe have had a few more numbers, but we trust out there. We've played with each other enough that we know what we're going to do. We don't necessarily need to overcomplicate things at times, and I guess when you have a smaller roster, it means that everyone's getting a lot of pitch time. It's true, mathematically. So here's Claudia Hermeking throwing to her daughter Alina. Real intergenerational feel to this MUC side.
High stall here, though, for Vorstenreich. And Vorstenreich is able to get it off, now finding the space throw downfield. Spieler going towards the far side to Hermiking. Imagine we'll see her next week as well at the GGM event playing for Young Legends as that one pops up, stolen away. Bova to Fane. Dumping it back. Onoe. Lamp just content to keep the disc shuttling back and forth in the backfield if they need to. Defender takes a wrong step and that opens up the space for the dump to go off. Travel called.
Bit half-heartedly.
I'm not sure that Malave got the initial message.
Hard to get those decibels up when you're out of breath.
I feel like we've talked enough over the course of the week about how energy sapping running on the sand can be, but I think it always.
Yeah, Malave did continue to throw open side, so it'd be great if they could resolve it quickly. She's probably just gonna go ahead and do the same throw.
Travel.
Great hand signals.
Yep, excellent. Makes our job up in the booth so much easier, which is of course the main reason they were introduced. It
for
wasn't.
ULTI.TV.
Yeah, exactly. For me specifically.
Yeah.
Something. All we need now is I want a separate hand signal for stroke and a separate hand signal for force out, and then I'll be happy. Ruben, if you're listening. So check back in and we are finally resuming play. So there's the break open to the poacher on the far side instead, going down the force side, Fane towards the end zone, past the first target and defended before it can get to the second. Claudia Hermiking putting the body on the line to get the block.
How many Hermikings do we have on this line? Is it just two?
On this line, just the two, yeah. Sarah is currently on the sideline. Huge gainer to midfield. Wonder if they might take the deep shot on again. They are. Looks like they've got a target they particularly like there in Spieler. Sticks into the grasp of Alina Hermiking and now taking on the break. Defender on the wrong side when the force gets broken. And that is MUC on the board.
Fantastic reception from Isabella Spieler, which is funny because Spieler does mean player in German, and she is playing a game so far.
It certainly seems like she's going to be maybe not necessarily the finisher for them, but she'll be a huge part of any initiation going downfield. Looking at the two records for these sides coming into this game, for Lamp, 5 wins and 1 defeat. They beat Maria's Remix and Jet Set and Yaka in their initial pool. In the power pool, a gritty universe point win over E6, handing the Swedes their first loss of the weekend. But then Casayetes triumphed 9-6 yesterday afternoon. For MUC, they are 5 and 2. Their initial pool, they swept Sloppy Steaks, Chili, Hux and Tequila Elite aside. They also went down to Casayetes before they handed Tarias their first and so far only loss of the week. E6, however, were able to get the victory over them as well. Nice toss to the handler running through. Walsh gets it just outside the end zone. That ability to get free in a phone booth, so handy. And the cheeky little toss down the line, I think is going to come back. A pick potentially with the cutter running through very close to the handling set there.
Bit sneaky.
And given how clinical a distributor Walsh can be, wouldn't be a surprise to see them score here, and that's exactly what happens.
Yep.
Jamming it in the jam hole to Alicia Dixon to put Lamp up 2-1. Their O-line yet to turn it over.
Very impressive. Alicia Dixon, originally from Spring Valley, New York. I assume that's upstate New York. Currently residing in Denver, Colorado. Never been there.
My only ever experience of going to the United States is actually probably over 2 decades ago now, and we did the whole Disney thing. So I didn't really see much of the States except theme parks, the road to theme parks, and a Waffle House.
Was the Waffle House good?
Oh my word, it was exceptional. They seemed to be charmed by our quaint, cute English accents.
Oh, amazing.
We were very charmed by the waffles and hash browns.
2 very nice things.
They really were.
Yeah, and the US does them well. Lamp D line coming out.
Managing the lines properly is going to be so important when you've got a smaller roster in terms of numbers, as that pool is comfortably out of bounds. And I'm just going to try and work out where it went out, or whether they're going to choose to take it from the brick mark.
Yeah, it is out of my field of view, for sure. It's coming back in the hands of Ronja Versteinlich.
Very good.
A lot of syllables in that one. Shout out to the Germans.
Yeah, Versteinlich was one of those players who picked up a silver medal at the UCF with Tiefseetaucher, the deep sea divers.
Ah.
Has it now looking to break to Rostoischer. Another that Tiefseetaucher contingent. Down the line, the layout is superb and secures possession for Glocker. Back to Versteinlich. Curling it around the end zone. Perfect shape on that one to get it beyond Fane's grasp into the receiver's path. And MUC with their first clean hold of the game. Offenses on top early in this contest, which I think given the conditions you'd probably expect.
Yeah, that was fantastic float on that throw. Made it a nice comfortable reception. Great grab down here on this sideline from was that Mira Glocker? It's a really nice reach. Yeah, there it is.
It's not bad to really undersell how good it is. And then taking advantage, throwing and going to the end zone as well. Using that first step explosion with the force a little bit sunk into the sand.
Throwing from the left side, scoring on the right.
I think when the weather is kind of this clement, everyone always describes weather as inclement, but no one ever seems to describe it as clement. But when it's this nice, it really limits what you can do defensively, I think, in a way.
It's true.
The first pass, dropped straight through Walsh's hands.
No, that was a run through D, I think.
Have to look at it again on the replay. You're right, there might well have been a piece on it.
Let's see if they can score it.
Good D though, but with no wind, can put a little bit of loft on it towards the back of the end zone, and they find the target there, and that will give us the game's first break. MUC capitalizing ruthlessly, and it's the goal scorer herself, Sarah Hermeking, who puts them one to the good. It's nice when that little pre-match research we do comes off.
Yeah, there you go. I hope we can get a replay of that run through. It might have been just a bit kind of shocking, and then she wasn't ready to catch it, even if she didn't get the D. Psychological D, I call it.
Yeah, you just put the seed of doubt in your opponent's mind. You don't always, as a defender, you don't necessarily need to get a touch on it.
No.
As long as the pass isn't completed.
You don't need your hand on the disc. You need your mind in their brain. You spook them a little bit.
And then with the still conditions, you can really float it over the top to the back of the end zone. You see what the defender's doing, just sitting a little bit underneath, trying to bait that throw. But yeah, sometimes when that's executed, you just got to hold out your hands and say, you know what, fair enough.
Another brick.
Yes.
Are they taking from sideline?
No, it's going to go to the brick mark. I think Dixon was just pointing out where the line for the brick would be. It's still conditions. I kind of think there's not really an excuse for not pulling it in. And the bricks on beach do feel particularly punishing as they get the set play, and it just spins off the fingertips there for Lamp. They set that up so perfectly from the brick pool. They got the initiation underneath, they got the one-on-one deep, and it's ever so slightly too far.
Yeah. She did have yards on her player, Brenna Murray, but it wasn't meant to be.
MUC with a chance then to keep the break train rolling. And Pole opens it up, looking towards the far side. We know that Glocker can produce the spectacular that occasion with the edge always taking it away. I don't think she had a position to bid.
Yeah, it looked like it had a good float coming up, but it just came down a little bit too quick. But nice to get some yards.
Yeah, that is the one thing, if you turn over on a deep shot, is that at least you do force them down the field. Superb dragging of the tape there by Bova. Swinging into the centre.
Ooh.
Wong finds the inside through. Walsh again. Hoping to use that box of lefty tricks to find a way through. She does with the inside, and then shot to the break side. It's Bova again for the score.
Natalie Bova from Philadelphia, and still in Philadelphia. She must love it there.
Philadelphia and Munich, to be fair, neither necessarily particularly famed for their beaches. I think because there aren't any.
Right.
Unless there are, of course, maybe some artificial ones. I must admit, having never been to either, I not necessarily an expert on that, but you're seeing again first the toe drag of the tape on the far side, and then using the fact that the defenders, obviously you're trying to guard that open side, so if you can break the force and break it well, there is always going to be that space, and that space was exploited.
Yeah, it's great to have that trust in your receivers when you have the momentum to get something off on the break side, nice and clean. They'll see it coming, and they'll start moving.
I feel like the job of the force is magnified even more on the beach, where the breaks can be so cutting. First Henrik fields the pull. First pass to Claudia Hermiking. Two at the back, three downfield for Munich. Spieler goes to ground, but not a problem. Zipped into tight coverage from one of the younger Hermikings to the other, Alina to Sarah. Now Sarah charges off deep. Not going though. Still got to be mounting, so get some air underneath it. Can anyone get on the end of it?
Wow.
It rolls perfectly into Vostenek's grasp to give MUC the clean hold. And you mentioned that was that kind of got you a little bit unstuck in your game this morning, was the hucks on high stalls. MUC must have got the message.
Yeah, it kind of looked like a Hail Mary, but she was so free in the end zone that she might have been looking for it from quite a while back.
I think, yeah, with the wind's very much not as strong, you do have the ability to sit those throws out there and trust that your receiver is looking to make the play.
Yeah.
And Vostenrik clearly must have read it nice and early. 4-3 then, MUC still with that one break advantage over the Philadelphians. Lamp. That's a much better pull that lands slap bang in the centre of the end zone.
Yeah, here we go.
Centering pass goes to Walsh, and now Walsh downfield to Wong. Wong again, now trying to find a way to advance it is downfield. More superb cut from Walsh with a little shake and bait to get plenty of separation in that dump position. Now trying to stretch the Germans laterally. Wong takes on the option down the line. Love it to dodge. Dodge. Just taking the reset with the stall count ticking up so they can just keep the disc ticking over, keep the disc moving.
Ooh.
Walsh zings the blade down that far side, hand up immediately in acknowledgement that she just did not get enough on that.
I see what she was looking for, and I think that's Bova in the end zone. Had her hand up asking for it, but just couldn't quite execute it.
And Walsh knew and immediately took ownership of her error. No time like the present, though, for MUC.
Wow.
Streaking down the field. That is a heck of a throw. Perfect. Do the delicate little hop into the end zone from Brandt.
Yep.
And another break for MUC, who have come to play this morning, 5-3.
Really impressive fast turn. Just pick it up, get it going. I think they're probably taking advantage of Lamp's shorter roster. They seem a little bit slower on their feet than MUC.
And this is a very good Lamp side, you know. The fact that they, even though they are reduced in numbers and they have, you know, at times throughout the week been even fewer than their number at the moment, they, you know, they've still picked up really good quality wins. You know, beating E6, who are former European champions on this surface, is no mean feat.
Yeah, we saw E6 play on this pitch on the first day of the week, and they looked so clinical. They looked so well put together. That was a really impressive win they must have had. Maybe it took it all out of them. Maybe that's where their energy went.
Enough loft on that pull that Dixon thinks I'm not gonna dice with danger here. Zips the flick, and I wonder if Onoe was already looking at the next pass as it thunders off the chest. Imen to bring in.
Wow.
Looking for the little hammer for the score. MUC are loving life right now. 6-3.
It's a very inventive hammer. Who needs to do a big tiring lunge when you can do an overhead? Great conditions for it.
Well, exactly. Veteran move there from Imen, just knowing there isn't really a wind. We can get a little bit more devilish with some of these options. And as we've seen so often, when they get into the red zone, Sarah Hermicking, if she's on the pitch, is the option she looks for. I think already Onoe's knowing that there's that next continuation pass available, and the disc was not quite where she thought it was. Imen doesn't have to get too outrageous with it. It's not got some ridiculous edge or swaz on it, to be honest. Just a little pop to the break side to Hermicking for the score.
That's 6-3 to MUC. They're widening the gap.
And for those tracking at home, that takes Sarah Hermicking's tally to 20 goals and no assists. A very Johan Lee Anderson-esque stat line. Here's Bova. Faking down the line. There's a little inside space if they can find it, but things are just about muddy enough that it doesn't go. In the end, Malave clears through. Multi McKinnon to Walsh. Lacking a little bit of flow at the moment. That's a nice leader down the line, though.
Oh, yeah.
That'll get them some forward momentum. McKinnon to Walsh. Walsh uses that angle to find the seam, and then the break side flow is supreme as Lamp even can stop the three-point run and get themselves back on the board. 6-4.
That catch and turn was something else. So smooth.
It's something, again, we've talked about it, making use of the break side flow. If you can get that first break off, you want to look up and you almost want to throw it sight unseen and say, hey, if you're not there, that's not my fault. That's the cut you should be making.
Yeah, that's a receiver error. Should have known better.
Obviously, you would just have a quick look before you threw it, but it almost does need to be that synchronized. You know, the timing needs to be there, that as soon as you get one break off, the next person needs to be there looking for the follow-up.
Yeah, I think this Lamb team has a lot of experience, and it's just muscle memory for them at this point, I'm sure.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They see it swung to the middle, they go to the break side. And by they, I mean one person, because you don't want to crowd it.
Yeah, there's a clear idea of whose job it is to make that follow-up cut. Spieler swings all the way back to Iman. Now Wurstenrich. That nice pivot forward creates the inside seam to Rostoysha. Rostoysha shooting to the end zone. Oh my goodness, did she toe that in bounds? I don't think she was able to drag that tape, which is a shame because Sarah Hermicking made a hell of a grab but just ran out of room to toe it in.
A couple of out calls on the pitch and it looks like it's uncontested. First chance to break for Lamb in a little while. I think MUC has been pretty clean so far.
Yeah, their offense turned it on their first point, and they have not turned it since. Their D-line's only surrendered it once as well. Been a very clean game, really, from both sides. As a big inside zips into Dodge's hands. Now Dixon looking downfield. Doesn't have the immediate deep look. Takes the intermediate option. Now they've got it set up, and that one is going to work. Lamb on one of those breaks back.
Fantastic. They're back in it.
We've not had a point in this game where both sides have had multiple possessions. If it's been turned over, it's either been immediately punched in or earned back and then held at the second attempt. So offense is ruling the roost.
It's a nice clean ultimate on a nice sunny day.
I mean, it is, not to labour the point at all, but it is glorious here. I mean, it does not feel like the middle of October.
Very consistent temperatures as well.
I say it doesn't feel like the middle of October. It doesn't feel like the middle of October for me. It might feel a bit more like that for you.
Nope, I got on a plane in London and I wasn't in a coat.
This is way too warm for this time of year. As soon as it leaves in August, that's it. It's just rain where I am for the next 6 months. That's not fair. The next 8 months.
Another great pull. Glad to see we're starting to pull inbounds.
Pole. Plane. Back into the centre for Alina Hermicking. Plane continues that cut down the line, gets it and then pulls the trigger. But just as she was doing so, Glocker had planted to come underneath, thinking the shot wasn't coming.
Bit of a miscommunication. I think she also might have tripped a little bit. I don't think she planned to go to ground.
No, with the sand, if you're trying to get those quick sharp changes of direction, sometimes you found that it just does give way underneath you. Even though the pitches were, the sand shifters did come along this morning and try and just clean things up a little bit. And in doing so, I think they accidentally severed one of the cables to the big screen. But,
oh, no.
But it is working again, mercifully. Shout out to Robert and Guillaume, who have been staffing the Jumbotron this week.
Yep. Lamp with another chance to break.
Yeah, this would bring us back on. It would still, actually, would have MUC a break up still, but it would take us to a Galaxy point. Floated, and that's a really tough catch, well stuck. There is a potential stall out back with the previous thrower, Onoe.
Sumi Onoe, originally from Tokyo, Japan, but residing in Arlington, Virginia. So very much part of the American contingent at this point.
So the call is retracted. It'll stay here with Murray. Murray again felt like another high stall throw and not entirely sure who the target was, and that one, wow. Glocker made that look a lot easier than I think it was.
Yeah, that full extension is amazing to watch.
Utilising the full wingspan if she can, and they'll take us into half with MUC gaining a 7-5 lead, and I think they've been good value for it.
Yeah, they started with a break, so they'll be coming out on O again.
They will indeed, and
after this 0-minute halftime.
Yep, we do still have the half, even if we don't have a break for it. So you mirror the start of the game, which of course means that, as you mentioned, MUC will be starting on offense and down the other end of the field, and they get the chance to do the old 2 for none, where you get 2 possessions back to back, which is one of the advantages of starting on defense. Of course, the problem with starting on defense is that if you get the same if you're not that breakup going into half, then all of a sudden you find yourself in a situation where you need to get more breaks to win than your opponent. There's always the trade-off. I've had various discussions over the years about what you should do, which in my opinion is, if it's really windy, take the wind, otherwise always take offense.
I think that's a pretty popular philosophy at this point. It's fun to go rogue sometimes.
Yeah, I think certainly there is arguments about, you know, sending a message, setting the tone, but yeah, I'll take the wind or I'll take offense, please. So far, feels like the downfield cutters are very far downfield, but they're able to get the huge gainer to Sarah Hermaking. Versenrijk clears through. Iman,
just holding on.
Yeah, but Spicy and the veterans, Iman and Hermaking, connect. Versenrijk, big pump fake. Now wants to see if she can get the disc off the sideline. Still count rising. Versenrijk to Iman. Static away from the disc, and Iman putting the hammer up. That's a scorcher. And I don't think either player was expecting it. And Iman kind of acknowledged, yeah, you know what, I maybe shouldn't have done that.
A little bit far. She did see it, but quickly acknowledged that she wasn't going to be able to get there.
You know, we have seen her execute that throw, albeit over a smaller distance, but the shape, I think, was a little bit wrong. There wasn't enough lead on it to the break side either.
Yeah, fell quite fast. Starting to get a little bit more breezy.
Dixon trying to pass off a switch downfield.
Wow. Great inside.
Dixon again being tasked with quarterbacking this offense. Now Fane dishing back to Wang. Low and perfectly weighted into the end zone for the score, and Lamp will open up the second half with a break. Still a bit of work to do for the Philadelphians, but they're making a game of it.
Absolutely. Lamp coming down with very flat forces, and it does seem to be putting a bit of a break on the MUC offense. They're pushing through eventually, but it is slowing them down a bit. Oh, there's that hammer.
Yeah, that was not to be. This is a beautiful shot, though.
Yeah.
Because it's not overthrown. It's not, okay, I know I've got to put it deep, so I'm going to really gun it. It's just about throwing them open. It just so happens to be that throwing them open is in the end zone.
Yeah. And if you're that defender, you're sitting super deep with your player, touch tight, and you're thinking, it's not going to come. There's no way it's coming.
You know, if they're going to pull the trigger on that one, go ahead. See what you can do, because as a defender you can't take away everything. At least I never could, but then I could never really take away anything, so that's not really saying a huge amount. But it is brilliantly executed through from Wang. 7-6, the Germans still with the lead. Alina Hermaking, nice lefty into the center. And they're working quickly downfield. Nice little bit of throw and go action. Spieler. Back to Pole. Pole to Alina Hermaking, and now Pole has it back. She's happy to take these little short passes, dink and dunk their way down the field if they need. As I think that plan from Lamp worked perfectly. Just, okay, the reset defenders just sagging a little bit into the lane, forcing the pass count up, and the error comes their way.
That one hurt a little bit.
Lamp can tie it up here. Still count already ticking up though.
Oh.
Too much zip on it. And now looking for the quick pick downfield into Pole. Pole to the end zone for Glocker. MUC's defense after the turn was tight, got the disc back quickly, and they made Lamp pay.
Yeah, I'm really loving these quick pickups, quick give and goes to get the disc moving towards their end zone. I think it is successfully catching Lamp off guard a little bit. They're still processing their turnover.
For sure, this is, I think, been a little bit of a theme of the week, is even if the defenders are, or the new defenders are switched on, sometimes you're just not necessarily in the right position because maybe you were cutting and you got free, but then all of a sudden the disc turns over and you leave yourself out of position.
There's no time to wallow.
You've got to flip the switch quick, but even if you do, sometimes the opposition is too quick to catch up to.
Hello to everyone.
How does Steph keep getting this shot? Get out of here, man. Come on. Benji Reese and Anna Inosovic with you for day 4 action from the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships. How is it day 4 already?
Tell me about it.
It's flown by. Walsh downfield to 1.
Ooh.
The bid, a split second shy. Fane putting some air underneath it. There's too much blade on it, and it's out of the side of the end zone and never gave Dixon a shot.
Yeah, came out very sharp.
I don't hate the look. You're trying to fade that deep shot towards the far side where the defender's out of position. Dixon's a very tempting target to throw to, but just the execution wasn't there.
Maybe it was the gloves.
Into the middle of the centre then for Brandt. Seeing Dixon trying to gum up the centre, taking on the break to Hermiking, fakes downfield. Now taking on the break herself. Pole's not far from pay dirt. And they were aggressive in breaking the mark, and it was very fruitful for them.
Very controlled break from Pearl. Didn't need to do too many fakes or pivots. She knew exactly what she needed to get that disc out.
MUC feel very comfortable breaking that force at the moment, so I don't know whether you want to switch that up a little bit.
I think is that Walsh on the mark? Couldn't quite get across in time.
He tries to flatten up a bit, and again they are forcing the opposition to take on break throws down the line continually, but MUC have proven that they are equal to the task.
Indeed, that is 9-6 to MUC.
Yeah, things nicely poised at the moment.
Oh, that was another break.
It was indeed. MUC very well positioned, but I think they will know that the game is not won until that final point is scored. Good pull, lands just shy of the end zone and bounces in. Walsh as the initiator underneath to Onoe. Onoe, that's a beautifully weighted shot. Murray just outside the end zone. Going back to Malave. Now Bova, can she find a little force in? Oh, there was no room there, and yet somehow they stuck it, jamming it in the jam hole for 7-9.
The jam hole has been jammed.
It's very jammy right now, but there's a real art to that. Just knowing that we don't have a lot of space, but you don't necessarily need a huge amount of space when you're that close in. It can just be a step at times.
Yeah.
And just, especially you can be a little bit crafty in your release to try and get that short little curl on it.
Timeout called.
Yeah, chance for both sides to regain some energy then. Women's power pool action here at WBUCC. Lamp 7, MUC 9 current score with just under 8 minutes left until the cap comes on here in this women's power pool game at the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships. Games this week played to a 13-point score cap or a time cap at 45 minutes, so there is certainly time for Lamp to come back into this one, especially because, of course, until that last point gets scored, there's always chance of the comeback.
Indeed. Thank you for recapping those rules, Benji, because it always confuses me how different beach is from grass and indoor. Ultimate comes in so many forms.
Yeah, I must say, it feels a little bit weird. Oh, we're going to play Beach Ultimate at the end of the year. It's like, really? When the weather's not that good? Well, shows what I know, because today it is absolutely glorious. And the fact that it's kind of at the end of the season means that Portimão feels just like a little Frisbee utopia a little bit.
Indeed, and you get to avoid the 40-degree heat waves, which is always nice.
To say about that, that is nice. I'm a person who gets uncomfortably sweaty at about 20, so... Glock has been superb for MUC. She gets free downfield and takes the reset back. Again, threatening the break on is Pole, and they do take it on to Sarah Hermaking. Looking to get it off the line. Give themselves a bit more lateral space. Spieler taking on the break again. Glocker got a hand to it, but it wasn't enough. That's exactly what Lamp were breaking for. Challenging MUC. Keep taking on the break because we know that you can't execute those forever. Spieler off the switch, picks up one.
Wow.
And one puts some air underneath it. I don't think this has got enough juice. And Pole slurps it up. This one is going to be the straight run through because the throw came a little bit late. Receiver had to slow down and Bova was under no such restraints. And now Bova gets it from that delicious inside backhand. Puts some air underneath it, testing them deep. And it just kept on floating and was picked off by Sarah Hermaking.
This might be the most turnovers we've had in a point so far.
It is. And that, by the way, is now 4 turns this point, which is not exactly outrageous. Just shows that it's been a very clean game.
Yeah. And that makes it 5.
Yep, as I say that. Simple error there, and this time Lamp will pounce on it. MUC left slumped in the sand.
That is a break from Lamp to bring it to 8-9. 8-9, still 2 MUC, but the gap is closing as time creeps closer to the finish line as well.
Yeah, since MUC took the lead in this game, Lamp have never managed to gain it back. But they're kind of like that little mosquito around the ear. They're just kind of buzzing around, and you know they're there, and you can't kind of let your guard down because when you do, you're going to get an almighty bite. Dixon to pull downwind with a little sea breeze rolling in. A zephyr coming across the Praia de Rocha.
Taking a while to get going. Maybe they have big plans.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Lamp will mind particularly, of course, with just the 10 this week, that if we can get a little bit more of a breather between points, that suits us fine. I think MUC playing with a faster tempo would probably benefit them, providing that they can, not feel rushed in doing so. Dixon very nearly steals a march from Rostoischer. Now low, and the layout rolls off the hands of Verstenreich. Lamp can bring us level. They've had a couple of shots to do it before and not been able to pounce. Trying to get it off the line to Dixon. Well covered though, and lightning quick hand speed from Dixon, who now goes for the overhead. This is going to be dangerous. Oh, and it falls right into the bread basket.
Foul called
of Fane, but you were right that there is a signal of a foul call.
I love the hug from Fane. Getting that disc nice and close to her body.
Just clutch it in any way she can.
Yeah.
I must admit, from that angle, I'm not seeing it.
I'm sure a fair discussion is being had. Some other perspectives coming in. We are almost at game time, so it'd be good to keep it short.
Yeah, the timekeepers on the sideline are...
They're tooting.
Yeah, just reminding them of how long these calls are taking.
Might be some translation issues.
You see it again on the replay. From my perspective, I will say that I didn't see a foul. We are shielded a little bit by Pole's back, but from my initial view, I must admit that I'm not convinced about the foul call.
Yeah, it looks like they're calling it as a goal. Or maybe she's demonstrating how she caught it.
That whistle do be getting blown.
Yeah, more whistle.
What do we want? 3 whistles. When do we want them? Now.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like men's ultimate.
You feel that Open can get quite coolly?
Yeah, I think their discussions last a little longer. They have more to say.
You know what? Actually, I'd be really interested to go back and time that, because not that discussion specifically, but just general lengthened discussions across the divisions.
Yeah.
That'd be quite an interesting case study.
That would be a good data set.
Off the resumption, Dixon zips the inside through to Walsh. Dixon and Walsh then play a little bit of smooth jazz in the backfield. Working with one another.
Wow.
And the unthinkable has happened, and Dania Walsh has her first goal of the week. And she has it to break, cap a 3-point run for Lamp, and bring us level.
Wow. Now this is game time.
This really is. There's, well, the cap will go on during this next point, so whatever happens, it'll be 10-9, game 2-11. And it is very much in the balance.
Impressive comeback from Lamp.
Yeah, they've had good resolve, I think, to, you know, never feel like they're down.
Mm-hmm. They were only ever 3 behind. But it's good to see their break train chugging along.
Yeah. I wonder about MUC calling that time out earlier, because it gave Lamp a little bit of a chance to regroup, get more energy on, and I think it might have disrupted MUC's rhythm. Lovely break though to Brandt. Back to Vorstenik. Plenty of separation there for Hermeking. Hermeking looking for a downfield option, has one in Glocka, but Glocka's overthrown. Lamp can now take the lead for the first time since 2-1. It's not to be on that occasion, though. The clap of doom from Anoa'i. Past the bidding one. Towards the end zone. That one is going to stick. Spieler with the assist. And MUC then will have the advantage in the end game. 10-9 in a game 2-11.
Melanie Brundle with the score, currently residing in Vienna. Oh, sorry, apologies. Originally from Vienna, currently residing in Munich.
You are right, that is Brandel and not Brandt, and there's been an annoying smudge on my screen that means I've been pronouncing her name wrong all game. That is entirely my fault. I would blame the sand, but my laptop's always got a dirty screen, so that is 100% my apologies.
There is a lot of sand flying around. Brundle's been playing with Box Vienna for a couple years. I believe I've played against her a couple times. Mm-hmm. She has rinsed me in the end zone a couple times. Power to her.
Yeah, and she is a a previous medalist on the beach as well with the Husk Easy All-Stars, who captured bronze at the first ever European Beach Ultimate Club Championships back in 2018 on the sands of Castelldefels, just outside Barcelona. I think that was the first of the 5 Universe point finishes that finals day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an unrealistic expectation that no tournament has ever been able to beat. Gotta love beach.
Yes, we do.
Dixon fields from the floor and finds Walsh. Back to Dixon. The two of them might just play between themselves all the way down the field if they have to. Wants to take on the break, the little sag on the handler mark there from Plain. Walsh. I think this might go back on the pick. There's a lot of traffic making that cut through the handler set.
I think that's being called back to Walsh's original position.
Yeah, the flag's beginning to stiffen a little bit in the breeze.
Yeah. Starting to get some goosebumps.
Again, we are certainly a bit more exposed up here in the commentary tent than we would be downfield side, but
right. A little bit more coverage. Gotta make sure my sandwich doesn't blow away.
priorities.
Yeah.
I mean, they are called sandwiches though, so
a little bit of sand couldn't hurt.
Dixon, big pump fake, gets Spieler sat down on the mark. Dished off by Fane. That one is going to float, it's going to sit, and Dixon nearly with the hero maker bid. Well, the hero maker bid came in, it just couldn't quite get there. Pole, high release, into the wind to Rostoischer. A little bit of give-go in the handler space. Now Pole, when she was thinking about taking on the aggressive option, decided against it. Gonna swing to win at the moment. Rostoischer, back to Spieler. That one's gonna float, gonna get second effort at it, no! Another life then for Amp.
The completion percentage is going down, down, down towards the end of this game.
And I think that's exactly what you expect on beach, with the lactic acid building up in the legs a bit more. Gets tougher and tougher to kind of maintain that sort of quality.
Yeah.
And I think Lamp, quite wisely here, saying we're nearly at the end of the game, we may as well take the time out now because we can't save it for the next one.
Nope.
So while both sides get a breather, we'll leave you with some short messages. Who's going to win then this women's power pool game? MUC and Lamp, live from WBUCC. MUC with a 10-9 lead over Lamp. Lamp taking a timeout with the disc in hand, looking to bring us to Universe. There's been so much parity in this power pool. Everyone's beating everyone, and it felt like a bit of a coin flip game, and it might go all the way to Universe. Elsewhere in this power pool, by the way, Torrijas continued their superb week with a 12-10 victory over E6.
12-10. That's not a Universe point victory.
True.
But still pretty close.
But yeah, Torrijas have been superb on the sands. They've surprised pretty much everyone, maybe even themselves a little bit. Dixon.
Wow.
Go gadget arms extend. Wants to find a way to get it off that trap sideline, does she? No, instead down the line for Walsh, who bids, but in vain.
The jam hole has been unjammed.
And Walsh is going to have to take an injury sub as well. Hopefully nothing too serious, maybe just winded herself on the landing.
Yeah, it did look like quite a thud.
She's going to make her way off the pitch to be replaced by Sumi Onoe. Sub's going to be made for MUC as well, as they are allowed to do. And that's Spieler coming off and Vorstenrich coming on.
Let's see if MUC can take it home.
Obviously, as a neutral, you always want Universe because it just has so much more drama. But I'm not sure MUC particularly care about that. They'd love to ice it here. Still rising with not a lot going on. Can Vorstenrich get something off? She does. It's just floating it up there towards the far sideline. Dixon had that one covered all the way. Onoe continuing to Bova. Bova's putting a little bit of loft on this. It might invite the defender, but not in time. Jackie Fain with the score. And it will be Universe 10-10, game 2-11. You love to see it.
I'm excited.
You feel like in this scenario, MUC in the driving seat when you are receiving, and that is notionally the downwind direction. Although having said that, the flags are kind of blowing the other way, so shows what I know.
It's a little bit all over the place. MUC giving the disc away a little bit too much in this half of the game, which has given Lamp the chance to claw their way back to the Universe point. But that last turnover, that was really excellent defensive pressure from Lamp. They just had no options coming through.
Had to put the high stall punt up, and Dixon was ready and waiting for it.
Yeah.
Lamp do feel like they have that head of steam, having scored 4 of the last 5 goals. And that's a good pull as well. Fired in towards the feet, fielded towards the back of their own end zone. Vorstenrich trying to take on the break. Deep shot goes, does it? No, just going to take the swing instead. Glocker back to Vorstenrich. High release, just going to sit that out into space. Not a problem for Pole. Pole opens up the cannon, looking deep for Hermiking. Defender will close, but not in time. Sarah Hermiking seals the Universe point victory with a tough under pressure grab. And your final score is MUC 11, Lamp 10.
An amazing win from MUC. I'm so glad they got that trust in their receivers. It's been a long game.
Yeah, huge win for MUC, bouncing back from a defeat to Caselletes yesterday. And again, they're a side that maybe came into this without a huge amount of fanfare, but have put together a very strong campaign so far in the sand.
Indeed.
The way the tournament format works, it means that everyone in the top power pool does go into the round of 16. There's no bye straight through to quarters. But yeah, of course, you want to give yourself the best position possible going into those bracket games to try and give yourself the easiest run through, and MUC would have made their task a little bit easier with this victory over Lamp, who, lest we forget, were the #1 seeds coming into the week. So that is a huge dub for the Germans.
Indeed. An upset, I believe.
Yeah, certainly is. I know that Liam Grant has wrangled Nora Pole in for interviews, so we're just going to let him get into position.
They must be so chuffed with this win. I'm excited for them.
Yeah, it's a big check mark in the book for them this week. Takes them to 6 wins and 2 losses this tournament, and Lamp, that makes them 5 wins and 2 losses as well. Both still have one power pool game to come. Right, let's throw it down to Liam Grant, who has Nora Pole.
Congratulations, Nora, on the big win. A really exciting game here today. What was it like out there? Different weather today, kind of perfect ultimate conditions.
Yeah, really perfect. No wind. Yesterday we also had rain. It's perfect. We can just play more or less normal ultimate, just a bit slower. So you can hit basically every spot on the field. So it's great fun. Just have to work for the win.
And you got that winning assist to Hermiking, one of the several Hermikings on this team. Tell us what it's like playing with, it's kind of a family team in a way.
Yeah, we have one mother, 2 daughters. It's great. They know each other really well, and we get to know each other also. So my favorite target is always a Hermiking. It's just great.
And tell us about the change of name to MUC. I think we've known you before as maybe the Wood Chicas or Chicas and things like that. Is there a change in the club, or what's been different?
We are aiming to be like one club, so the boys are also called MUC since quite a while, and now we also wanted to get away from Chicas and called us MUC, to form a unity in the club.
Well, congratulations on the big win, a really exciting game, and best of luck in the rest of the tournament. We'll go back up to Benji in the booth.
Thanks, Liam. Excellent to hear from Nora and get a little bit of insight into what's going on in Munich as well. And they mentioned they wanted that unity, which with the open side, which they have, and the family feel that I think maybe just gave MUC that little bit of an extra edge in this one, Nos.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this many family members on a team before. I'm a fan.
Yeah, it's real little Frisbee family, but not in the Düsseldorf sense, if that, for those of you who remember them. Right, going to see a little replay package of plays from both sides in this game because it was tight all the way. MUC got their noses in front in the first half. Lamp did superbly to claw it all the way back to Universe. In the end, MUC just had a little bit too much for them and were able to close out the 11-10 Universe point victory. For Anna Inosovic alongside me, Benji Rees, we will see you on the other side for more WBUCC.
Bye-bye, everyone.
I wanna be young, I wanna be alive. Everybody dance, don't stop. I just need a minute to find out what I'm feeling, cause I'm about to go nuts. And my team is trying to say what's up. I've been waiting for this my whole life. Wanna do it again 3-4 times, cause it's better than a dream. Highway with young lean, I will never get enough. So high.
Thanks.
Yeah, ultimate.
ULTI.TV.
Tell the bodies to pull up.